We are gathered here today to talk about a couple of blind buy dupe fails. As in, I bought a couple of dupes and I don't feel like either of them are great options for a couple of reasons. One is going to be for Louis Vuitton Stellar Times and the other is going to be for Louis Vuitton's Atrap Reve. Two very popular Louis Vuitton fragrances and honestly two of my favorites from their brand. So let's get started. So I've talked about how my favorite dupe of Stellar Times by Louis Vuitton is Mabel from Anfar. It is very similar. It doesn't have the exact same richness and thickety, almost pungency that the original Stellar Times can sometimes have, but I do think it's a beautiful scent with great projection, great longevity, and it has almost like more of a fresh type of aspect to it, but it's still within the kind of same DNA to me. And I just think it's a really gorgeous option. I actually really like layering both Mabel and the original Stellar Times. I put Stellar Times down as my base, and then I top it off with Mabel. When I did that video, a lot of people told me to look into Orientica's Noble, because Orientica is a brand that is known for using very high quality ingredients. And a lot of people said that that is actually the best dupe for Stellar Times. So I did buy it. I do like how the note profile of this fragrance is very, very close to the original Louis Vuitton Stellar Times. It includes the Peru balsam note, which Mabel doesn't. And I believe them when they say that, Orientica has very high quality ingredients. This is my first time trying anything from the brand, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but there's no reason for me to believe that it's not. And it's an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous bottle. But I was underwhelmed with the smell when comparing it directly to Mabel and Stellar Times. You know how I mentioned that Mabel is very close to the original Stellar Times, but does not have the same thickety-ness of it? Orientica's Noble, in comparison to Mabel, to me is even less rich, and it's also less sweet. Stellar Times has a sweetness to it that just makes it super addictive and delicious, but it also has this very amberous feel in the overall profile with the orange blossom, but it's like a sweet, thick, almost syrupy orange blossom fragrance to me. So Mabel tones it down. It's a little bit fresher, but it still remains as sweet and has some of the richness. To me, Orientica is in last place. Very low richness and very low sweetness. So what you're left with is more of a woody, amberous scent profile that also, on my skin, did not project as much as Mabel or Stellar Times, and also did not last as long on skin as Mabel or Stellar Times. The thing that really sealed the coffin for me though, is the price point. The price point of Noble, if you get it directly from the Orientica website, is $150, okay? If you try to get it from Amazon, it's going to be about $85. And if you are able to get it from fragrance.net, which is always going to give you a cheaper price point, you can get it for about $72, $73. And I think the lowest I saw was $70 on Triple Traders online. Mabel is about $49 on Amazon, sold out right now on TikTok. And also, just sharing information with you, if Mabel is one that you've been looking to get, right now there are only 8 left in stock on Amazon as of this morning, and they've been sold out on TikTok for probably going on 3 months now. So you have limited time to scoop that one up if you are interested in it, just sharing that information with you. So anyways, when I factor in the very high price point, along with lower projection and longevity, and a less sweet, less rich version, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're a complete fail in almost every category. The only thing that I will give Noble credit for is the bottle. The bottle is absolutely beautiful. I wish I could switch the bottle and the juice of Anfar Mabel with Orientica's Noble, because I think the bottle, it just feels like something fit for a Dubai queen, whereas I'm still trying to figure out what the hell is going on with the Mabel bottle. Like what was the vision here? I don't know, but it's okay. The smell is phenomenal, so I can overlook it. But it is absolutely hideous to me. But that's neither here nor there. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm being too harsh on Noble. It's still a beautiful fragrance. And if I just had Noble in my collection, I didn't have Mabel to compare it to, I didn't have the original Stellar Times to compare it to, then I would think that it is a perfectly fine, suitable, beautiful scent. But because I do have those to compare it to, and I think by nature, when you are deciding to go in the dupe direction, you are asking to be compared to the other dupes on the market. So I don't really feel, sympathy for that. But if you do only own Noble, you still have a beautiful fragrance. It's just, I wouldn't personally recommend it to people because of the high price point and I don't think you're really getting anything extra for that high price point except for a prettier bottle. I almost completely forgot that I also have another Louis Vuitton Stellar Times dupe that had been kind of being hyped up on TikTok. This one is from Street Origins. I have about 4 or 5 of their fragrances. Not too impressed so far with what I've smelled, to be honest with you. Not bad, but just nothing to really rave home about. This has something extra in it. I don't really know what it is, but there's something that kind of pulls it away even further from Stellar Times. It's not just that it's extra fresh, it's extra fresh and something else. There's something else in it that I don't really particularly like. And the longevity and projection is also not there. So if you're wondering my thoughts on Street Origins, that's London Love. It also gets a pass from me. Now let's talk about the newest Louis Vuitton fragrance that is very, very popular on Tickety Talk right now. Voyage Nova from Coafi. So this is inspired by Louis Vuitton's Atrap Reve, which is one of my favorites from the brand. It's an absolutely beautiful scent. And when you initially spray this, it does smell good. It's the dry down that happens within less than 30 minutes that absolutely disgusts me with this fragrance. And I feel like that's where you can really feel the lack of quality that was put into this fragrance. I can't even quite describe what it is that I smell once that dry down hits. It's like all of the notes, all the fruitiness, everything disappears. And it just feels like I'm left with this almost weird, flat, cheap, synthetic, almost chemical smell. Like, it's just not very good. And I think when we're talking about dupes, yes, a fragrance or a dupe can make the exact same note breakdown, but I do think that part of what makes a fragrance really good sometimes is dependent on how it's blended and the quality of ingredients that are used for that particular scent. So when you just replace it with ingredients that are very, very cheap, you can smell it. You don't exactly know why, but you can smell it. I don't think that's always the case because I truly do think that there are some dupes that smell almost identical to the original because that particular DNA is so easy to replicate. I don't think Atrap Reve is one of them. I think Atrap Reve is a beautiful, light, airy fragrance that has great longevity on skin, but it's soft. And I really think you smell the difference in quality. And Coafi's Voyage Nova is $22. The original Atrap Reve is $360, I believe, and it smells that way. If I just bought Voyage Nova and I didn't have anything to compare it to, and I were to, spray it on skin, I think the opening, I'd be like, okay, this is like a nice, fresh, fruity floral, I guess. But once that dry down hit, even if I didn't have the original, I wouldn't like it. I would be able to smell, this smells to me poor, low quality, very synthetic, and just not it. So even though it's being super hyped up right now because of its very, very low entry point, not one that I would personally recommend unless you're like, I don't really care about all of that. I don't need it to be exact. I just want something that smells nice-ish and, is going to give me an idea of what this $360 perfume smells like because I'm not interested in smelling or buying that type of, price-pointed fragrance ever, then by all means, have at it. It shouldn't make your skin fall off, I don't think. I don't know, but I don't think. But not one that I would personally wear or recommend. So then what is the best Louis Vuitton Atrap Reve dupe? I think right now it is Aphrodite from Velixer. I feel like Aphrodite is in the middle of Rayhan Divine and the original Atrap Reve. It's stronger again, like everything is intensified, so you do lose some of that beautiful watery complexity from the original one, but it smells higher quality and again performs better than Voyage Nova in my opinion. So that's the closest that I've smelled at a reasonable price point. When I first got it in the opening, I thought, is there something a little bit musky in here? But thankfully that does kind of go away within 10 minutes or so. I think there's something in the floral. And when I compared it to the original Louis Vuitton Atrap Reves, that too can also have something that's a little bit musky with one of the florals in the opening as well. And they both kind of settle down. So that is my recommendation for which one I would say is the best. I will try to link all of these guys down below in the description box, all of the ones that I mentioned, and you can decide, whatever you think is a good fit for you. Some of them are not available on Amazon. They're only available on TikTok, so I will link that. The ones that are available on YouTube, I will link those, but most of them I think are gonna be more so available on TikTok. On a side note, I do have a question for you guys that I'm very, very interested to hear your answers on. Am I crazy or are a lot of our affordable fragrance dupes getting a lot more expensive? When I originally started doing this back in October of 2025, I felt like the price points were 30 bucks, 35 bucks, 40 bucks typically at most. And oftentimes you could get stuff that was like 18, 20, blah, 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 blah. And that was for full 100 milliliter or 3.4 fluid ounce size bottles. But now I've been noticing that we are getting dupes that are $60, $70, $80. And I'm like, wait, what? Now I understand, I'm not ignorant. I understand that there's a lot of craziness that is happening in the world right now, in particular in the Middle East, that is for sure increasing the prices of shipping and all that jazz, and that companies can only eat that cost for a certain period of time before they have to increase prices. I do understand that, but I'm also 37 years old, which means I've been living on this earth long enough to know that whenever some type of calamity happens in the world, and we're told by companies we have to increase our prices to offset the increased prices, what happens after that calamity goes away? Do we see the prices fall back down? No, they don't. I also think the reason that we are seeing more increased price points is because of the niche and designer brands. When you guys increase your price points to where it is now normal to spend $400, $500, $600, that also allows other affordable brands to also increase their prices because now there's that space or gap in the market. My question to you guys is, at what point is a dupe now overpriced to where you're better off just buying the original? Because don't get me wrong, I love me a good schmoopity dupe. Nothing makes me happier than finding a fragrance for a third of the price of an original fragrance that is better or on par with the original in pretty packaging. Truly, it's a delight. But what I'm not gonna do is spend $80 on a dupe. Bro, no. I'll just wait. I'll just wait and save up my money to get the original, because at a certain point, when you kind of tally up all of the dupes that you're buying, if they start getting at that high of a price point, not when you were just like 35, 40 bucks last year. So I've got 3 questions for you. Do you also notice the prices of these dupes getting more expensive? 2, if it is largely due to all of the craziness that is happening in the Middle East right now, do you believe that the prices will go back down after that conflict is finished? And number 3, what is the highest that you are willing to spend on a dupe before you say, no, I'll just save up for the original?